Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Have you ever been unburdened by things undone? I don't know. I was gonna try to do like a Kamala Harris weird, thing, but I'm not. I can't do it. It's too weird, and couldn't keep a straight face. So I don't know. I don't even know where I was going with that. Other than I was thinking. And this is more of a pep talk video. This is not a prepping video. This is not a doo-doo hits the fan video, or this is what Trump and Putin and Zelensky or whatever's going on. It's not that. Oh, hello doggies. Can you hear them? I'm being chased. They're gonna attack me. The joys of living in the country. Anyways, they'll get tired eventually. That one, he's just determined to get right in front of me. They're border collies, so they'll probably run for the next 30 miles after me. Probably can outrun me. Anyways, well, one's that looks like an Australian Shepherd. Maybe that's what they are. So, back to the video. This is just a pep talk. And maybe it's for me that I'm saying this, but I thought that maybe other people might need this. There's a lot going on in the world. I talk about that all the time, and it's kind of down sometimes. And I'm sure for you, sometimes for me. And then there's just things going on, and then people are just mean. Man, this road is awful. I don't go down this road very often. This road's awful. Anyways, people are just mean. The world's just mean. I made a video just the other day talking about how I really think that the world is just becoming a more evil place. And many of you got that, right? You understood it. It's just dark. And I've just seen it with my own eyes, in person, where people that you thought were once amazing and good people, and then you find out they're doing things behind your back, or they're being mean to someone else, or being mean to you, or they're just hateful and evil, kind of acting, and it's the world, right? It's when we let too much of the world, let too much of Satan into our lives, even though we don't know it, it happens, and it's just, I don't know, it's just an awful place to be right now. But you know what? We're here, and we can't change that. At least we shouldn't change that, if you know what I'm getting at. And you think that instead of constantly dwelling on the negative, we need to dwell on the positive things. There's always something positive. I remember, my mother used to tell me things like that well, as bad as you think your life may be right now, I assure you there's someone out there in this world that's life is way worse than yours right now. So no matter how bad it is, there's always something worse going on. And I guess that's one perspective to take, but honestly for me it's finding joy in the moment, finding joy in the present time for what's going on, and looking around at beauty in the world, looking around at God's creation, and acknowledging that we are here for such a time as this, and that He chose us, and that He loves us. And that right there, I mean, that alone, if nothing else, if everything else in life is horrible, that right there should be enough to get you motivated. And I can tell you, for me, I try to stay really busy. I've been this way my whole life. Even as a kid, I remember as a teenager, I got kind of hurt a little, nothing serious, but hurt enough that had to go to the doctor, and the doctor was telling my mom, said he works too hard, because I mean, even as a teenager, I was working full time and then some, plus still going to school and everything, and he's like, he's working too hard for his age, and he's just wearing himself out too early. And I've been that way my whole life, and even now I've got 100 different irons in the fire, and I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying that I like to be busy. I like to stay busy, and part of that, I think, is it keeps me busy enough that I don't really have time to focus on the bad. And maybe that's a method for people to do. I think sometimes that we have too much time on our hands, I think that a lot of the problems in our world today, especially in the Western modern world, is that it's too convenient, it's too easy, and then people have time to bellyache and complain and come up with ridiculous things to complain about, like, you're not, acknowledging my gender identity. I told you I'm a purple-haired cat with horns coming out of my backside. You should acknowledge that and respect that gender choice I have, or something just ridiculous. Whereas, 100, 200 years ago, people were too busy just trying to survive, too busy trying not to get, killed or eaten, or too busy just trying to go out and hunt for their food every day, that kind of stuff. They didn't have time to worry about stupid, ridiculous things. And maybe that's part of the problem, is people are they're not busy enough. And while I stay busy doing different things, I try to also, as much as I can, stay busy doing what I guess is the Lord's work, as to use an old saying. My wife says it's kingdom building. That's what we're doing, is we're kingdom building. And I think that if we all, in our daily lives and our preparations and our survival training and all the things that we're trying to do, homesteading, learning how to produce food and how to preserve it, and learning how to take care of injuries, and learning how to be community and all that kind of stuff, if we look at everything from the focus of kingdom building, are we helping to grow the Father's kingdom? And are we giving that honor and that praise to Him for allowing us to have the privilege to do this? Maybe if we looked through those eyes and those lenses, things would be different. Think of how different the world would be if all these world leaders and these elites and billionaires thought that way. Wow, what a different kind of world we'd have. But we can't get caught up in the negative. There's a lot of negative, and I think it's good to a certain extent to be aware of it so that we can know how to defend ourselves from it. But we don't need to be caught up in it and immerse ourselves in it and allow it to just kind of rule over us, or to have such level of control. We believers should be set apart in this world because the Father set us apart. And we should act that way and be that way and believe that way, and we should walk in the path of Yeshua. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Some of you might laugh and say it's ridiculous, and others just don't understand. But we need to follow His footsteps. That's why He was really here. He came to save the world. That's true. But in doing that, He was saving us by showing us how to live life, how to follow God's word and His commandments. He was the living word, that life. And so many people think that, well, I gotta read a Bible and do some praying and then just ask for all these things and ask for forgiveness, and then maybe I got it right. And they forget the part that we're also supposed to do and behave the way He did. And I think we forget that sometimes. I think we forget that we're supposed to, to kind of use the little saying coming out of, I guess, my generation, the tail end of my generation, maybe into the millennials. What would Jesus do, right? I tell that to my kids all the time. What would Yeshua do? Think about that. And I think a lot of times that puts things in perspective. If I'm mad at someone and I'm talking about them, and I'm just angry at what they've said or what they've done, and maybe I'm passing that anger on to someone else by telling someone else about them. And is that what Jesus would do? Is that what Yeshua would do? Probably not. And it's easy to do those kind of things because, like I said, the world is evil and it's getting darker. It's getting worse. And it's easier to I think because of that, it's easier to play into that evil, to play into that darkness. And we have to be set apart. And we have to continually rise above that because of the fact that we're set apart. And do what Father tells us to do, and to behave in that way. And it's not just about following a bunch of rules and laws. I mean, yes, that's part of it. It's also about living out those things. I mean, there's a difference, I think, from following something because you have to, because you're told to, and doing it with abundant joy and happiness because you're trying to live that. There's a big difference there. I think that's what a lot of people forget, that it's not just some sterile, regimented way of doing things or the way of living. It is abundant life, and we should do it abundantly. And I think if we do that, it will change our perspectives, and it will lift our spirits up, and we will find ourselves less down about the world because we recognize what the world has become, and we have chosen, and it motivates us to do better and to live a life above reproach as much as we can. And the only way to do that is to follow in Yeshua's footsteps. Yes, you need to ask for forgiveness, repentance, ask Him to take over your life, but there's more to it after that. You got to actually walk the walk. And I think everyone at some point in their life struggles with it. Some of us struggle more than others. But it's part of that struggle that makes us stronger. You know, I tell my kids this also. It's like when you work out. You know, the only way you're going to get big muscles is by straining those muscles, working them harder. And the only way that we're going to be stronger is through struggle. And sometimes that struggle is just struggling with ourselves, our own self-evilness, our self-wanting and wanting to be just about me. And we have to push ourselves aside and look to the one that came to give us life abundantly and to show us how to live that life abundantly. And if we do that, then maybe all this bad stuff will seem kind of small. Anyways, I think if we do those things, then even though we may not be able to change the world, we can potentially change the world around us. And I think in the end, that's about all that we can do and about all that matters. And if enough of us do it, think of how much change we can cause. I don't know. It's just some thoughts. Random thoughts. All right. Well, you folks have a good one. Get your houses in order. Prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.